Hello there, my name's Thompson and this is one of my videos in my Myths of Golf series. The Myths of Golf to me are important because if people spend 5 years, 10 years, sometimes 20, 30 years working on a myth, it clearly isn't going to work. One of my favourite sayings on my studio wall is from Albert Einstein, and he says that one cannot solve a problem with the same mindset that created the problem. And that's exactly right. I try successfully most of the time to change my pupils' mindset. One of the myths is this: a longer shaft, especially with a driver, will hit the ball further. Well, it might, but I'm going to prove to you hopefully that it probably won't. Golf's a really old game. People always discuss how old golf is, who started playing golf, etc. But this book, one of my thousands of books, says that golf was sort of played from 1123. 1413, golf was regularly played on links golf courses. So it's a really old game, 600, 700, 800 years old. And during that time, just by people playing golf with no computers, no trackmans, no other way of finding things out other than by hitting golf balls, people with drivers would hit golf balls and find out what was the best combination of loft angle and length to give you maximum distance and control. And the length that became standard up until probably 20 years ago was 43 inches for a driver for a man and 1 inch less for a lady, because obviously men are taller and stronger most of the time than ladies, so they can use a longer shafty golf club. A lady came to see me for a lesson and she's had a lovely swing actually, pretty good golfer, handicap about 20, which I think is a good handicap for a lady, and she said she had problems with the driver. So I just measured the driver. Loft angle was fine, well-known make, beautiful golf club. Her driver was 45.5 inches long. So that's 2.5 inches longer than they used to be for a male. So 3.5 inches too long for her at 42 inches. The average tour pro in the States, the average length of their driver is 44.5 inches long. So this lady is using a driver 1 inch longer than the average tour pro, which is ludicrous. And I said this to her, and I couldn't possibly make her hit the driver any better because it's just simply too wrong. It sort of makes sense. If the club is longer, there's more club head speed and the ball will go further, which I guess is true. But you've got to hit the ball as well. You've got to hit the ball in the middle of the face. The middle of the face is easy to achieve with a shorter club, and by hitting the ball in the middle of the face, the ball will actually go further. Imagine having your driver this long. Have a look at this. I'm almost off the screen now because the club is way too long, and if this was a driver and we got the best golfers in the world, let's say the best 100 golfers in the world, try and hit the ball with this, they would hit some terrible shots. They'd actually miss the ball altogether some of the time. One of my assistants once, he got a normal driver, and what he did was he put an extension in. So normal driver added a 12-inch extension, working on the principle, which makes a lot of sense. Longer the shaft, more club head speed, longer shots. Having made the club 12 inches longer, I watched him hit golf balls, and this is a young fit guy, and hit the ball quite a long way, and with the driver, still hit the ball pretty straight. With this driver, now 12 inches longer, he hit some terrible shots. In fact, he missed the ball altogether on one occasion, and when he did hit the ball, he would miss the centre, and the ball would go all over the place. So he lost a lot of distance and a huge amount of accuracy. Believe me, you don't want a driver that is too long. Most people do. Have you ever thought why a putter has one of the shorter shafts? It's because there's more control. A putter, very short shaft into the head at about a right angle, so you can now stand very close to the ball, and because the club is very, very short, there's simply more control. The same principle applies to a driver. Try and find a club maker or somebody who knows about golf clubs and ask them to measure your driver, if you have a driver, and try an experiment. Ask the club maker to make your driver 43 inches long, and I will guarantee you'll hit the ball better with it. Guaranteed. Loft angle, try and get a club with something like 15 to 20 degrees of loft. Shaft length 43 inches, and you'll get better, because you can then hit the ball in the middle of the face, not on the toe or the heel or the bottom or the top. You need to have a golf club that is controllable, and that means, for most people, shorter. If you're one of the longest hitters in the world, well, fine. Most golfers, 99.99% of golfers, are not in that category. You're hopefully playing golf because you enjoy playing golf, but you also want to play better golf. So find a driver, especially a driver that is the right length for you. Somebody else came to see me for a lesson, and no handicap. Again, it's a lady, and she had a beautiful driver, 7 degrees of loft, 45.5 inch length shaft. Unusable. I couldn't use it. I've been a pretty good golfer. My best score has been a gross 66, so I've always been pretty competent, but I could not hit the ball consistently, correctly with her driver. So I suggested she didn't use it, and hopefully she's not using it, and she's going to get better now. So a longer driver may, and I say may, hit the ball further if it can be controlled. People I teach, I encourage them to get a driver that is the best length for them. For men, about 43 inches, ladies about 42 inches. If the average American golf pro has a driver at 44.5 inches, why would you want one longer? I mean, why don't they have them longer? Because they know if they go longer than that, on average, they're going to miss the fairway, miss-hit the ball, and they'll lose money. Professional golfers play golf for money, and they'll use a driver that is the best length for their swing, average of 44.5 inches long. So why would the average golfer ever want a driver longer than the best golfers in the world? I don't think they would. This is an old club now, and I used to drive off with this. It's an old 5-wood, loft angle, 22 degrees. Shaft length about 41 inches, and I could hit this 220, 230, 240 yards and pretty consistently straight. Had I used a driver at 45.5 inches long, my golf would not have been as good, and nor will yours. So this myth of golf DVDs about the length of a driver. Find a competent club fitter to fit a driver to you and experiment by having it shorter. What you could do with your present driver is maybe hold it down the shaft by a couple of inches. That might help. Having said that, you then made the driver shorter and you might then get less club head speed, hit the ball straighter, but the loft angle won't be sufficient. You need to tie in the loft angle to the length of the shaft. I hope this has given you lots of food for thought, and hopefully you will do something about it and check your driver length, check the loft angle, and the longer shaft almost certainly will not hit the ball further, it will hit the ball less far. Thank you for listening. Thank you very much.